you've got some kids at the collegiate level who you are counseling and you are making better, who can win the national championship this year. Walk me through the names of the guys that you.
This is interesting. I mean, one, congratulations on all your success. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about Michigan.
Thank you.
Being
It is my success.
Legitimately legitimate.
They are legitimately legitimate, huh?
They're not. They didn't get really lucky 3 weeks. The Big Ten's not having the worst year ever, and therefore Michigan's shooing in. I mean, they're legitimately good. So it's been awesome, man. Cade McNamara has been a guy I've been around since he was little. JT Daniels at Georgia. It's been a very interesting year with him getting hurt, and then Stetson Bennett playing at a really high level. I think we may end up looking back on this defense and saying it's one of the best defenses ever in Georgia. And so JT's been a guy I spent a lot of time with, and Desmond Ridder, as it sits right now, has finally been able to get over that hump and be a non-group of five or whatever it is, where Cincinnati's in there. And so, yeah, it's been a blast to be able to watch that. And Bryce Young at Alabama. So it's going to be this year, it's very quarterback heavy, where the quarterbacks are big reasons for why things are happening. And it makes it really fun to watch.
So obviously it's not a one-size-fits-all way of grooming a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's who they are. It's what beats inside. It's obviously neck up. It's the God-given ability and so on and so forth. Cade McNamara, you said you've known him since a kid, right?
Little guy, yeah, 6th grade, yeah.
6th grade.
Yeah. Honestly, probably spent as much time with Cade as anybody. It just the family never missed a camp. He was living in Reno, always coming back down. By no means was he ever the guy where you said he's going to be, God graced him with, he's not 6'5", he doesn't have the craziest arm I've ever seen, he doesn't run a 4.2. He's just got a little something different in him, the way he competes.
The way he comports himself, not just in the moment, but when a microphone's in front of him, he just, it oozes, the leadership oozes out of him. So what is his challenge to try and, cash in this house money that's been handed to the Michigan Wolverines right now with that win over Ohio State and the opportunity to actually take it all right now?
If you think about what has he done well, what he's done well is handle difficult situations well, right? They're not winning because he's sprinting to his right and throwing it 60 yards across the field to his left, making crazy plays. He's not turning it over. He's making great decisions. I think he's got 3 or 4 turnover-worthy plays since he's been the starter, going back to last year.
I can remember them all.
Yeah.
That's how they stand out, because they're outliers. They kind of shock you when it happens.
Like the one Ohio State, you're kind of like, whoa,
right?
Because he's not risky with it. So I think what it is it's maximizing this opportunity of it's the balance of control those turnover-worthy plays, but also when to be aggressive, and that's just something usually guys learn as they get into the NFL. But really cerebral, really competitive, really mature kids do that well in college. Cade's done that well so far in college. He's got to do that for a couple more weeks.
What can you share with me what Harbaugh tells him? What can you share about a relationship between coach and quarterback that you're willing to share right here?
Well, I think the irony is Cade's got a lot of, from what I don't know Harbaugh as a player.
I was there freshman year. He's got a lot.
Is that where the picture you running from?
No,
that's to wear a tie to school.
That is definitely not me in school. No, that's me as an older man. But yeah,
older, faster man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I think from what I hear, Harbaugh, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, the way that, in 2021, kids care a lot about perception and social media and likes and how things are, perceived. Cade doesn't. It's very old school. He doesn't really care about Instagram. He doesn't really care about any of that stuff. He's trying to win. And so I think what Cade was able to do is kind of mirror what Jim wanted, was this all ball, don't care about any of the other fluff. And that's who he is naturally. Cade didn't have to act like that. And so I think that's two things where those guys, again, I went around Jim as a player, but I see a lot of those things where Jim's I know guys used to talk about how he was always competitive in these situations where they shouldn't have been competitive. Like the QB challenge, right? He's the guy who took it more serious. Cade kind of takes everything really serious, too. He competes in everything.
Well, what is it like then to watch a kid in J.J. McCarthy come running out, though? How does that come into the mix in your conversations with Cade McNamara?
What I've used as an example, because I don't care who you are. If you're a competitor, I want to be on the field. Don't take me out.
Well, I mean, pretty much every other kid that you've mentioned that you have playing in these, obviously JT Daniels is hurt, but, these guys don't really come off the field like Cade does sometimes.
Yeah. So what I use is Drew Brees and Taysom Hill. So Drew Brees got to a place in New Orleans, I think, Drew got to a place where he believed that Taysom going in the hill in this series at third down, and you've been around Drew long enough to know the competitor that Drew is.
Of course, yeah.
I don't think Drew had interest in not playing or taking a breather, but I think Drew had to get to a place where mentally he felt like Taysom going in the field, I'm going to get to a place where I believe that I'm going to have a shorter field when I go back in. This is going to be a good thing for our offense. This is going to move us. It's a very difficult thing for quarterbacks to deal with. One of the things I saw in the game on TV last weekend, JJ, who I've spent time with JJ. I think JJ's going to be a star. It's awesome. JJ has a little zone read, and they had number 14, the little guy, kind of stock block, and he goes down the sideline, and JJ drops a dime.
He did.
Right in there. And there's very slow-mo cut of a legitimate Cade pointing on, where's the camera at?
They're right there.
Cade, like, great ball fired up. You know what I mean? And I think that's the growth where you're going, he's so locked in on us scoring on this drive, I don't care who gets us down there. And I think you got to be able to get there if you're going to win a championship. You can have a good offense doing that, but to win a championship, you've got to really get there, and I think Cade's there.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.